I think, if your goal, it depends on what your goal is. If you're trying to grow on social media, I always used to say when I was in social media management, it's like to really focus on 1, 2 maybe platforms
I say the same thing.
to grow and get really established in, because also you don't want to burn out. Like, we don't want to like start building a community and then ghost them. And then they're like, hello, like, is anyone here? And you're like, you're there, you're just trying to be in like 500 different media channels, and it's too difficult for you to keep up with, especially if you're a solopreneur. So you really want to make sure that you're focusing in on like, 1 to 2 platforms. But, if you are starting to expand or seeing all these different ones, where's your actual audience at? For me, my audience is all over Threads. I love Threads.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fun for me. Sometimes I do wish that I could like, anonymously post a thread and do a little hot take. That's maybe a little too spicy to put my name on.
You're gonna have a gossip girl.
I know. I'm like, maybe that's what I need to do is
I'm
like
into it.
create a gossip girl Threads, because I'm like, I just need some kind of outlet sometimes. But I love Threads. I love Instagram. And for me, one of the ones that I would get shiny object syndrome on a lot is Pinterest. Because a lot of people, would talk about how they've gotten a lot of like traffic to their business from Pinterest, and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's such like, I feel like low hanging fruit. And then I got to know a lot of like Pinterest marketers, and, I don't have a blog. I don't have like other things to really draw people to right now. And they're like, it does take a lot of work.
Yeah.
And if you can't be intentional about it, you will just burn out and then think the platform's not right for you.
Yeah.
And it could be right for you. It just may not be right in this season. So in January, I'm getting my website built. I'll have a blog. I will have an actual professional brand that won't be on Canva, guys. Like
Yay.
4 years too long. But I'm super excited about that. And I'm like, I will have a blog then. So then in 2025, like, would love to start adding in Pinterest. But in these last few years, it just hasn't been right for me. And I built a multiple 6-figure business without it. And that's okay, know? And so I think, don't look at what other people are doing and just expect that it's going to work for you. You also need to think about your capacity, your audience, like, what you enjoy doing. Is it going to light you up, or are you going to be like, I never want to do this? It's like podcasting.
Yeah.
People think like starting a podcast is like, oh, start a podcast, like fun. Yeah, it's fun. But like, if you don't have an editor, it's a lot of work.
Yep.
Like, I started my podcast like with paid sponsors and all of this because I was like, I am going to not have to do my editing. Like, I told the girl that did my intro, I'm like, give me a year and I'm going to hire you to do my editing. Overachiever, guys, again. It took me like about 7 months, and then she was my editor.
Amazing.
And I was like, I just don't want to edit. It doesn't bring me joy, and I will close down my podcast if I have to keep doing this.
Yes.
So it's like there's so much that goes into it, and people are like, oh, I just like record, and it's like on Spotify. I'm like, I wish. Like, AI, get it together, because I wish it was that easy.
It's getting close.
I know, it's getting pretty close.
Yeah, we had a client actually today, who was talking to us about this, where she was like, can we leverage AI more? Like, what does that look like? And so we're testing some stuff out. So I love
it.
I'll tell you some of the stuff we're testing.
Yeah. Tell me all the secrets.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's just, we were talking before we recorded about how I came into the studio, and I'm like, this makes me want to do video. And any of my audience listening to this is like, Taryn, you say all the time you don't like video. I don't like getting ready all the time.
I know,
for
you
video.
look so cute.
Well, thank you. But I like put my makeup on like to go on the plane, which I never do because I knew I was coming here, and like got all ready. And then, we were talking and you're like, it could be like Alex Cooper, how, she just shows up in sweatpants. I'm like, why don't I really like think about it that way of like just showing up intentionally as myself, because that's who I am. Like, I don't get ready all the time. That's just not me. For events and things like that. Yes, I do. But, for just every day, that's why I love podcasting without video, because I'm like, show up as you are. Like, you don't even want to know what I look like behind the mic sometimes.
Okay, well, I need to know, are you going to wear feathers to... So many feathers at so many events.
Oh my gosh, no feathers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to check in.
Yeah,
I'm not wearing feathers either.
No feathers. I'm in a denim era for Boss Vision Con, so this is a little teaser here.
It's all denim.
Almost all denim. I haven't got a denim blazer.
Wow.
I know. She's cute. She's very cute. So I am, I like to do like looks for each event that are like kind of different. So my one for Make Your Mark was more like boss girl vibes. Like I had like a 2-piece blazer set thing. And this one's like denim, like Dallas chic. Oh. I'm wearing cowboy boots one day, so
okay,
yeah, a whole vibe.
Okay, I was gonna wear jeans one day, and I was like on the fence, but now
I'm wearing jeans on stage, like my first day.
Great, I'm gonna wear jeans. Great, perfect. Yeah. Okay, I have another question for you about live events, and because we're kind of there now. What is something that you think is so important? You've seen so many live events, going through them for yourself, for Dubsado. What are some of the best things you've seen at live events?
Oh gosh. Okay, one. Intentional time for breaks. Mm-hmm. When people don't have breaks in events, like often enough, people tune out and they like burn out.
Yeah.
And when people like structure time for breaks, like getting coffee, going to the bathroom, like, you know, networking and talking to that person, you know, that they meant to grab earlier, and, you know, those intentional moments, like, that is so important to like have a rest for your brain, even if your events are more like not as tactical and you're still like getting inspired and everything. That's very much how like Powerhouse Women is.
Yeah.
And I love their event, and that event.
Did you go this year?
Yeah, I went this year.
Okay, we didn't see each other there.
Oh my God. Well, there was like 800 people there. It was like wild.
It was wild.
It was wild.
There were like, I had clients there. I didn't see.
Yeah. It was wild. But at that event, you know, I got very inspired, and it actually like pushed me into a lot of different things that I like didn't even know I was like prepared for. And that if I wouldn't have time for like intentional breaks and everything, I know I would have burnt out because my brain was going. Like it was like I just could not stop. Like the train was going and there was not stopping the train. So I think intentional breaks are important. And then also like one thing I really loved from Powerhouse specifically, and just that I've seen a lot of events do lately, is yes, we're having like big names and stuff there, but also like giving space for like new faces.
Love that.
To be on stage, because a lot of people, especially right now in the time we're in, where a lot of people want to speak on stage, and a lot of people at the same time feel like there's not room for them, that the market's saturated. Like, who am I to speak on stage?
Yeah.
And guys, like, anyone can speak on stage. My first speaking event was last year, and I spoke on stage alongside Amy Porterfield. I definitely had a lot of imposter syndrome of who am I to be doing this, but it also like lit that fire under me of like, this can happen. And that happened because I shot my shot with the host of the conference after we recorded a podcast episode.
What event was it?
The Heart Conference in Dallas last year with Evie and Lindsay. They're the founders of the Heart University.
Cool.
And they had told me, I was on their podcast, and I was like, hey, like, just wanted to like keep you guys for a second after. And I was like, I would love to speak at one of your conferences in the future. Like, just wanted to like throw my hat in the ring. And they were like, actually, like, we haven't announced this live, but that will be our last conference. And they're like, this was, I don't know, like a month before, 2 months before. And they were like, you know, thank you so much for pouring into our audience and our community on the podcast. Like, we're going to talk to our team and see if we can rearrange the schedule. And so they rearranged the schedule for little old me that had never spoken on stage before to speak on stage. So, you know, all you have to do is ask. All you have to do is put in that application. But events that allow for new voices and new faces on the stage, which is something that's really important for me at my event, is so crucial. Like, I don't want personally at my events, like the same old names, the same old faces at the event where you're just like, we know what the lineup's going to be. We know what the vibe's going to be. I want people to be like, who is it going to be this year? Like, who is it going to be? So I love that. And I feel like it's happening more often. It needs to happen more often.
And that's what it's something that we're so passionate about too, like over on our event, Having Women, because it's like, we have so many connections to so many wonderful women who like deserve space on stage. And like, even for me, like this year, I was like, I kind of would love to do a little bit more speaking. Like, I'm just gonna like put it out there and we'll kind of see what happens. And I told my friend Marina about it. And then shortly after, it's like, it was like flowing. I'm like speaking at something like constantly now, which is so fun. And like, you know, whether it's a little keynote or being on a panel or whatever, like such a great opportunity to grow your audience. But I'm also open to the fact that I'm like, I don't need to speak everywhere. And like, I don't need to do everything. And it's like finding the ones that are like kind of the right fit. And still attending events and amplifying other people. Like I met someone recently, they're like, oh, I don't go to events unless I'm speaking at them. I was like, oh, okay, that's a personal choice. Like, that's fine.
That's a personal choice.
That's fine. But at the same time, it's like, there's a great opportunity for you to meet people. And that's actually how you speak at events.
Yep, exactly. And, not everyone that speaks on stage too, like, has a good return on investment of speaking on stage because of the follow-up and, how they plan their process and their system to convert people afterwards, especially if you can't sell from the stage. And so, that is something that a lot of people think is, oh, well, if I'm not on stage, like, what's the point? Because, what connections am I going to make? And, it's not the same. That's definitely not true. It's all about your intention behind what you're doing, your process, your system. Like, you should have a system for attending events. Like, what is that going to look like? That's something that I'm like, touching on a little bit on my talk tomorrow at Boss Vision Con, because I'm like, I'm earlier in the day and before the second day, and I want people to be like going into this event with the right expectations, and you need to develop a plan to have the right expectations and to see it through, and to not ever blame an event for it not giving you business or you not making connections. Like, really look back at yourself and be like, did I actually go into this with intentionality? Did I have a follow-up? Did I have, a lot of people do business cards. I just recently got a dot card, which is like the sticky little things on the back of your phone or wherever you want to put it. And because like I'm really bad at like keeping business cards, and so I'm like, I do the dot because it's just so much easier. And just like what your process is, like what's your system for following up with people and everything. And so I think we really have to, if you're feeling like, okay, it only makes sense for me to go to an event if I'm speaking. Again, your choice, but I would really evaluate that and be like, why do I feel that way? And the events you're going to that you're not speaking, or the ones in the past, because I'm guessing maybe that person is like, oh, I got nothing from it. Like, what's the point? Yeah. Like, how was the experience that you brought there? Yeah.
Well, it was interesting, and I'm just gonna say it. It's a hot take. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna go for it.
Go.
It's going on the tube, but it's fine.
I can't.
I had someone apply for an event one time, and we sent a rejection. They did not have a bad application. It was not bad. It was just like, we get 150 for 10 spots. So it's like, we're turning away excellent people that speak on other stages. Yeah. Who are TEDx speakers. Like, it's just about kind of fit of the day. And I messaged all the speakers, and I actually gave them a half off code for the event before we sold. And this is a sold out event. So I was like, I'm going to give you first dibs on the tickets. Half off. I'd love for you to come and finesse your application, like, for these women. Like, because there's a misalignment with what you're trying to pitch and what I think these women need. And I think if you were in the room, you would get a sense for what they needed. Yeah. Half off, so the ticket was probably $200 kind of thing. And the person responded back and was like, that's not worth my time and energy. And I was so taken aback by it. And was so taken aback by it because for me, I've applied to speak at things and I haven't been successful, and I've applied to do things and it hasn't worked out. But there was like no reciprocity there. That woman's never poured into me in any way. That one, like, there was no connection to me. Not that you need to speak. Sometimes I meet people for the first time when they come on stage. Like, it's not like about that, but it was just the attitude that came with that I was like, oh, that's not a high vibe woman. No. And that's not someone who's going to embody our values. No. And so I think showing up at these events is so important, and like showing up and playing all out. That's actually when people see you and they're like, oh, that's how I've gotten all my like best opportunities has been like Entrepreneurs Day. I spoke at Entrepreneurs Day this year, and it's because I'm very active in the community. And when Steph asked me to speak, it was like, of course, I was so honored. Yeah. But there was an application. It was just by ask, which was, again, a gift. But it's because I play all out, right? Yep. And like, I think that's the missing piece sometimes with people is that I'm not going to do anything if you're not going to give me everything. And I think in community, it just can't be like that.
It can't be like that. And like, like you were saying of, maybe if you're around the community more, you would, get to know them more and everything. And I think that's like very huge when it goes into speaking and applying to speak on stages, is you want to make sure that what you're saying is going to land. And in order for it to land, it could be the best advice you're giving. And if it's not a way that community like receives advice, it's going to go nowhere. Like they're going to be like, cool, awesome.
Someone gave me an excellent pitch for High Vibe Women. Like it was like probably one of the best, well-written pitches I've ever seen. It never said anything one time about entrepreneurs. And it just was not about entrepreneurs. Yeah. This is a corporate trainer. She's amazing. But it was just not a fit. Yeah. And so I emailed her back and was like, hey, love you. Yeah. Like, let's figure out a way to make something work, but this is not it. Like, yeah. And if you're going to pitch yourself for things, you have to know your audience a little bit better, right? So I think it's like really about finding that balance of who's the audience and like how do you connect with them, and then like also like how do you show up for the event hosts and how do you show up for the people, because people remember that. They remember like, oh, like I like for all the events that I've ever spoken at, like I'll send an email, I'll show up my stories. You've done such a good job promoting for Amanda, like and I think that goes a long way.
I mean, it's we were saying earlier, like the online space is big, but it's so small. Yes. And it can be not easy. I don't want to say easy, but easy to build a good reputation, and it's easy to build a bad reputation. Yeah, of course. And so especially with, around different event hosts and things, like we all talk to each other. Yeah. Like I'm sure me and you are going to talk to each other all the time. Like I talk to Amanda all the time. I talk to Jordan all the time. And, what's nice about that is when we are looking at new voices and people to speak, we will ask each other. I had someone reach out to me to speak at their event, and I don't really know her, but she follows Jordan. And so I was like asking Jordan, like, hey, do you know this person? Like, want to see more about her community and things like that. And it's so nice to like know people that you can bounce those ideas off of each other. And so, when we have situations where, we're not kind of putting our best foot forward with people and building those relationships, it's not like a gossip train, but people do talk because we also are, mindful of each other's businesses too. And I want to make sure, like, if you're about to bring in someone to your event and maybe I had a crazy experience with them, I don't want you to go through that and just be like, hey, like experience this for yourself. But like, I just want to let you know, like, what the situation was, kind of thing.
And this is human nature. Yeah. Right? Is that like, it's a community, and this is the thing about online. Like, I just like always really recommend to people that like, people, my husband always says this to me when we talk about like my online relationships. He's like, well, they're not really your friends.
Yes, they are.
And I'm like, Josh, like I talk to these people more than I talk to you.
Yep. 100%.
Like, I have a 13-minute voice note waiting from Haley. Yep. 13. That woman did not Cole's Notes the story. No Cole's Notes there. No. But like Haley and I know each other from the online world. We've met in person, but we know each other from the online world or in ball. Like Inball's a close friend. Like, so it's amazing. You can build these awesome relationships. And I actually think that that's the thing too, is that if you're trying to get on stages and you're like, I don't see like my spot, maybe you're the person who's supposed to make the stage. Yeah. Start practicing. And I actually found that was kind of the movement for us, was we started running our own events. And people were like, oh, like you're doing such big things in Canada. And I'm like, I guess. Like, it doesn't feel like it, but I guess. And then people were like, well, can you come speak at my event? Like, I'd love for you to talk about what you're doing and about events and about community. But it was because I put myself out there first. And so, anyway, Taryn, I'd love for you, as we wrap up, to talk about your number one tip. If someone was new in business, okay, and they were like, hey, I don't know how to make sales, I have no audience, what would you recommend people do with their time?
I would recommend, I am very big on building your business around your personal life and not the other way around. I am first and foremost a mom of two. I have a 9-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son. I am a wife. I unfortunately lost my mom to cancer 6 years ago, and that rocked my world. And I just saw how quickly life can be taken. And I just never wanted to go through another day not loving what I do. I love being a mom, but I needed identity outside of being a mom. And that identity I did not want to be retail management anymore. I was like, this is not my identity. And that's when I started my business. And I don't feel like I've ever fallen into the trap of having my, my personal life be put on the back burner, or me telling my kids I can't do this or not go to their games or anything. Like, I am at every game. I'm missing part of my daughter's game on Monday because I'm flying home from here. But I'm going straight to the softball field right away and going to be there. But she knows that like mom's doing this. She loves like seeing things that I do and speak on stage, and she loves that kind of stuff. But for anyone that's just starting, I would say like start out strong of looking at your personal life first when you're starting to build your business, and make sure that everything you're putting in place makes sense for your personal life to thrive. So when I calendar plan, I write down everything in my personal life first. When my kids have school breaks, when we want to go on vacations, not planned vacations yet, like when we want to go.
Yep.
So then I'm not like, oh, we can't go because I'm going to a conference, like it's already mapped in. So I do everything in my personal life first before I put in anything business related. So if you're just getting started, like start out strong that way, and you will honestly, like I will say, like I've avoided burnout because of that. Like my personal life is still going strong, thriving, while my business is scaling. And that is why I'm so passionate about helping other female entrepreneurs to do the same, because it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah.
We can have both.
Oh, I love it. That's amazing advice, because I think so many people get caught in the whirlwind of entrepreneurship. We see people in the hustle, right? And
the hustle.
Yeah. Okay, well, this was so fun.
So fun.
And
I could talk all day.
Yeah, and I was about to say the same thing, and especially because this is the first time we've ever spoken.
I know.
And sometimes this stuff can go awry.
Yeah.
But didn't.
It didn't.
Okay.
It went good.
Yeah, I think
loved
so too.
it.
Maybe we'll have a second date.
I know.
I love it.
I think so too.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Taryn, why don't you tell people where they can find you, how they can connect with you? I know you have some cool stuff you're brewing up.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram, the Taryn Rachelle, and same on Threads. I'm on there often. I'm like a multi-day threader. I'm like, I don't know if that's...
you come up all the time first for me.
I'm like, I don't know if like that's like taboo, but like I just like post whenever I like have something on my mind. I'm like, it's like a little tweet.
Yeah.
And then, I have so many exciting things coming up. My biggest thing right now is her Scale Up Academy, which is a 12-week program to help you be intentional on your scaling in your business. So get you prepared to scale in 2025. So that's starting in January. So I'm really excited about that. And then our first conference is in 2025 in Arizona in October. So we have a wait list right now. So definitely hop on that and you'll get all the info.
Amazing. Send that over to me, because you know me, I love the Arizona.
Oh, yeah. You got to be there for sure.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Keep me away from Arizona, people. Keep me away.
We're bringing you in.
Yeah. Any minute now. Actually, someone the other day was like, it was actually really cute. She DM'd me and she was like, hey, I live in Canada and I see that you live in Arizona and I'm wondering if you could help me with my social media. And I was like, I also live in Canada, but I'm here for this. Taryn, thank you so much. We will link everything in our show notes, and I know I'll be having many more conversations to come.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Yay. Thanks so much for listening to Community with me, Kristina Bartold, and I'm just so excited to continue the conversations. If you're looking to grow your community and learn more about social, join us at thesocialbusinessclub.ca and use the code podcast to get your first month for $1. Share this episode with your friends and on social, or leave a review. It means the world.